world whose mother is a council member in a CPA Institute. If you can challenge me on that, I dare you to produce another CPA whose mother is a council member of a Public Accountants Institute. As we go into the 11th in Cpa Economic Forum, allow me to say this about our president. As we talk now, there are two presidents in the House. There is the 11th and the 2nd. And something is unique about the two presidents in the whole. They share a name with me. There's David, there's David, there's David. So it's a beautiful morning for me. Who am I really to share a name with the two presidents? And by God's design, they are the only presidents around, as I boast about being their namesake. Mr. President, the younger David, if I translate from your language, happiness is killing us for seeing you here. And Mr. President David, the senior, we are always honored because I think, again, I don't fear any contradiction from anybody. I think he's the most active president among the presidents in our events. He's always here, he's always, and he gives it full attendance. There are presidents who, float by and on the first day or on the last day, the first session, the last session. But for him, he's present, he participates in the Q&A. So I'm saying all this as a piece of advice to you people who are still in the procreation bracket. The next son you get, I advise you name them David. And if it's a girl, Davina. If you are a Muslim, Dauda. Because then you have destinated that person to great things. I remember there is a Reverend Father, Honorable MP, who at one point, during that hot debate on the hot bill, the AHA bill, he said, be careful what you name your children. If you name them Fox, they can also turn out to be Fox. If you name your child David, you are destined that child to be a king, a president, but a president with a small p and I know Jat is everywhere. I'm talking about president of the institute, not president of other governance bodies. I want to request Ambrose if we are almost ready to do the NRM sign for me. Ambrose, are we almost ready to receive? Now, Ambrose, I've confirmed you don't belong to Duongo's army. I asked for the NRM symbol, you don't know. Can I show you? It's this. But your boss, the CEO, has just given me a small, not a perpendicular thumb. The person we are waiting for, you know, he has lead cars and he's already on the expressway. So maybe in 10, 20 minutes, he should be here. Even those things of 30 kilometers per hour were removed. So we should not be worried. But yesterday, as I was exiting the expressway, a man with a once white cap did this to me. I thought, am I in some sort of trouble? But when he looked at me, he just smiled and said, Mzee Isonga. You know, so sometimes age is also has its own benefits. I said, I'm Mzee Isonga, and I songaed up to my hotel. Now, we are going to do something unorthodox. We'll do the protocols which normally are associated with opening an event like this later on. But right now, I want to invite CPA Charles Lutimba to come and just have an interaction with us around the subject of sustainability. Charles, you're welcome to speak to your people. Charles is the director, standards. Why are you not convinced that I've given you the proper title? If I've mispronounced it, please correct it. These are your people. Speak to them.
Thank you so much, Chair. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, CPAs. That's better. My name is Charles Lutimba, Director Standards and Regulation with the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda. I have been ambushed by the Chair to speak about our sustainability journey. I know a couple of you have heard about the IFRS, Sustainability Disclosure Standards, IFRS S1, IFRS S2, and a couple of such standards that will be coming up. You will notice, ladies and gentlemen, that under the Accountants Act, the Institute is mandated to issue, but also adopt standards in accounting, standards in auditing, standards in corporate reporting as a whole. So based on that mandate, the Institute has been issuing and adopting a couple of standards. You're aware we've had the IFRS accounting standards, the ones that we use largely for the private sector. We've had adoption of the IPSAS, the International Public Sector Accounting Standards. We also adopted the International Standards on Auditing and a couple of others. So it's based on that, based on that mandate that we also adopted the IFRS Sustainability Disclosure Standards. These are standards that we made pronouncement on by our council last year at the annual seminar. We pronounced adoption of these standards when they were issued, and when the president then was delivering our announcement, a commitment was made that we are now going to work on what we call a roadmap. A roadmap is simply a direction on how these particular standards are going to be applied in as far as our jurisdiction is concerned. You will note, ladies and gentlemen, that whereas the standard making process is globally synchronized, when it comes to adoption, the mandate is left for jurisdictions to drive the course and determine their direction. So different jurisdictions make pronouncements on how they are going to adopt. Those that make changes to the standards, they'll do that. Those that make enhancements to these standards, they'll do that. And it's the reason that what we are currently doing at the Institute, and this is the mandate that Council has delegated to what we call the Uganda Integrated Reporting Committee. That reporting committee is composed of EU members. It's composed of a couple of individuals with a blend from practitioners, a blend from implementers, and then a blend from the academia, because we wanted really to find a way of synchronizing all activities around the standards adoption process, these particular standards, right from the implementation, then get into the education, get into capacity building, get into further awareness and promotion activities that are associated with these standards. So that committee is composed of a couple of individuals with great expertise within sustainability space. And it's the committee that the Council has designated with the role of leading us in the sustainability journey. So as we speak, we are having our final edits, final amendments to the roadmap. And at some moment, probably within this month, we shall hold a validation workshop. The validation workshop will be a workshop where we shall invite a couple of you to come and really appreciate the kind of direction we are choosing to take as a nation. And after that, Council will make final adoption, rather final pronouncement on it. And if all goes well at the annual seminar, we hope to launch that particular roadmap. As we speak, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of nations, a couple of countries around us, but also all over Africa have adopted and have issued their roadmaps. As Uganda, those of you who follow activity of the IFRS Foundation, there was a snapshot that was issued and Uganda was profiled, critically putting down what we have so far done in as far as sustainability reporting standards is concerned. It's on that basis, ladies and gentlemen, that we thought it was pertinent at this economic forum, where we are discussing matters of economic importance, matters that touch the fabric of our society, that we needed to include a topic on sustainability issues, and we shall be graced with the presence of the Ministry of Finance through Climate Finance Unit, but also practitioners from the banking sector to really share with us what exactly is being done in as far as the climate space is concerned. So what should we expect in the roadmap? The roadmap details a couple of things. The standard comes up in a certain format, but like we said, jurisdictions are allowed to really twist it in their way. You adopt what you think is workable in your space. So in the roadmap, we are going to define who is expected to apply these standards, these reporting standards, the IFRS, Sustainability Disclosure Standard. Who is expected to adopt them? And from there, we have adopted what we call a phased approach. A phased approach is more of a tier system of adoption, taking into cognizance the fact that as entities, as players in the Ugandan market, we are not all at the same level. You will, for example, find some entities, say in the banking sector, having a lot of resources, a lot of structures, well-set systems, and therefore they are in position really to capture sustainability-related data. They have systems where such data can quickly be validated and such stuff. But we're saying in the same economy, you will find entities that are on the dual carry perspective. We do not want to delineate those entities totally away from sustainability discussions because they have an impact they lay on climate-related matters. So we're saying they will equally have a certain portion, expectation that the role they will play in as far as sustainability is concerned. But we are saying in a phased approach, those who have the resources, those who have the systems, those who are capable, let them start. They provide us that learning curve, they share experiences, we learn from them, and then those of us in the other rim of the country, we adopt after the others have implemented. So we are adopting a phased approach, and really the phased approach will see voluntary phase for all of us. A voluntary phase will be some sort of exercise, warm up. Those of you who watch football, when the team is preparing for a match, they will first go for a warm up, and our warm up will, in the roadmap, we are saying will start for the periods of ending 2026. So we have a 2-year period where we are exercising, where we are gathering information, required information, where we are setting up systems, where we are amending our board in terms of references to incorporate climate-related activity, to incorporate sustainability-related activities, where we are training our staff, equipping our staff with the required skills, but also building up our systems. And that is the warm-up we're going to do for a couple of years, at most 2 years. And then after that, we go into mandatory application. Mandatory application will begin with those in the banking sector, those in the insurance, those in the retirement sector. And then after that phase, we have another phase for the public, the government business entities that report using IFRS accounting standards. And then after that, at the tail end of the adoption process, we shall have our dear SMEs. We are putting the SMEs at the tail end of the adoption roadmap because we believe over time, they should be able to appreciate what is happening, what is going on in as far as these other entities is concerned. And we're taking that cognizance of the fact that the standards provide for application of these standards based on whatever resource you have. With source in as far as data, in as far as human resource, in as far as the technologies that you have as an entity. You need not to look elsewhere. The standards require that begin with what you have. And as we go on, you will build up and build up. For the public sector players, those have intentionally been reserved or scoped out upon conclusion and final adoption of the sustainability-related standards from the IPSAS board. The standards are already out. We are reviewing them, and once that moment comes, we shall equally relay the direction that the public sector, a typical public sector, would be carrying on. So, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are in the sustainability space, you will note that there are a couple of frameworks that we have been using in as far as building up our journey as entities, as companies is concerned. I know some of you have heard about what we call the SASB standards. I know some of you have heard about the Global Reporting Initiative standards. Some of you have been using the integrated reporting, International Integrated Reporting framework, and many other reporting frameworks. But the beauty is that with the standards that we are adopting, they have carried on the journey by assuming responsibility over a couple of those other standards. For example, the International Integrated Reporting Framework, for example, the Sustainability Accounting Board standards, and many others. And we are saying that assumption of role and inscription of those old frameworks into now the new frameworks, we believe should lead to a quicker but also seamless adoption and implementation of the requirements of the new standard. So, couple of metrics, couple of themes as we have been using them are likely not to change. Those of you who are conversant with the International Integrated Reporting Framework, you'll notice that we have been talking about themes around the governance, themes around the strategy, themes around the risk management, and then metrics and measurement bases. So those themes have equally been incorporated into these new standards, and we shall pick them up as they are, but simply speak to the tone and requirements of sustainability reporting frameworks. There are a couple of reliefs where we have adopted as they are in the standards, but there is just one relief that we have given an extra treatment and special treatment as far as Uganda jurisdiction is concerned. You will notice that under the greenhouse gas protocol, that is a standard that helps in measuring climate-related emissions. It's provided for that emissions can be measured in 3 ways. We have what we call the Scope 1 emissions, Scope 2 emissions, and then Scope 3 emissions. And just to bring it into perspective, when we talk about the Scope 1, we are simply talking about those emissions that you deliver to the environment directly. If, for example, you are a sugar processing plant, and in the course of squeezing the sugar canes, doing what, there is some smoke. Emissions are measured based on the extent of carbon dioxide you emit to the environment. So in the course of squeezing the sugar cane, I hope it's the right word, you emit smoke. And that smoke now is a direct emission. And therefore, if you're measuring the extent, that will be categorized under scope 1. But as you do that, there are also those that fall under scope 2, and these principally address what we call purchased emissions from purchased capital goods. In the course of your sugar processing, sugarcane growing, you buy, say, tractors, you buy items of plant, your staff use vehicles, and a couple of others. And those vehicles, which are not necessarily processing sugar, but which are facilitating, say, staff movements or raw material movements, whatever emissions they do is what we categorize under scope 2. So in your calculation, you will group that under scope 2. And then lastly is what we call a scope 3. Scope 3 simply addresses emissions that arise that don't fall in any of 1 or 2, but arise through your value chain. And those would be emissions by, let's say, your raw material suppliers. You deal with certain suppliers. In the course of those suppliers' performance of work, they end up emitting to help you to facilitate your business. So whatever they do is what is categorized under scope 3. And in our discussions as technical staff, we were telling the board that as far as the jurisdiction is concerned, we are battling with calculating scope 1 and scope 2. And if we are battling with scope 1 and scope 2, which are more evident, then calculating what my supplier emits, so I deal with SMEs, calculating their emissions may be a little problematic. So instead of the 1-year relief you are giving us in the standards, we wish to take a further 1 year, such that in as far as our jurisdiction is concerned, entities may be permitted to have a 2-year exception or relief in regard to disclosing elements of scope 3. What that means, ladies and gentlemen, in simple terms, is that if you produce your report and you do not report on scope 3, you do not lose out on the compliance attestation. We shall not say you have not complied with the standard. We are saying that is so because the other relief is an acceptable mode of operation within our jurisdiction. So that is one very key aspect that we have adopted that is a little unique in as far as Uganda is concerned. Other reliefs really have been adopted as and they have been issued, and the roadmap will clearly prescribe those reliefs. Now, the last aspect probably I would mention about is you will note that when the sustainability standards came up, we also came up with the sustainability assurance standards. The IFRS sustainability standards were done by the IFRS Foundation. Then now the auditing standards came up. I believe you've heard of issues of what we call greenwashing. We had the very first case, I think the very first case in the history of sustainability reporting that was decided, I think, in Belgium against KLM on matters of greenwashing. And it has really provided a basis upon which entities are now strictly but also intelligently applying a couple of requirements of sustainability. When you are setting up your core values as an entity and you purport to respect or honor climate-related activities, but when in actual sense you don't, that may result into greenwashing, and if, depending on the nature of your entity, you may end up with a lawsuit. So It is on that basis that the sustainability information needed to be assured. If every one of us as an entity was allowed to report whatever they are doing in whatever way they wish, everyone would say good stuff about themselves. So to what extent would any person, say an investor, say a development bank, say the government that wishes to support you, to what extent would they rely on whatever you have relayed in as far as your sustainability journey is concerned? We are saying that extent can be determined by the extent of assurance that is performed on that sustainability information. So for the practicing members, the roadmap will have guidance on sustainability assurance. We have been performing financial statement assurance. This time we are creating another facet of assurance, which is sustainability assurance. The roadmap is calling for particular skill enhancement, further certification, but also appreciation of that direction before, as an accountant, you engage in what we call sustainability assurance. So for the practicing members that would wish to carry on that, take note of that. There would be particular requirements in as far as training is concerned, skill set is concerned, and the like. We have had a change in the standards. Previously, the standards we've been using for sustainability assurance have been overtaken, and now a solitary standard has come up that can enable you give reasonable or otherwise any other form of assurance on sustainability matters. So take note of that. But as you are aware, as you bring the realm of accounting, rather practicing accountants into performance of sustainability information, matters of ethics also arise. We've also had an ethics standard that has been built. The ethics code has been expanded to really have reservations or space for sustainability related assurance providers, and you will need to also take note of that. In short, the roadmap we are issuing will come up with clear guidance on how each of those aspects will be treated, but most importantly, expectations for regulators. I know we have worked well with the likes of Bank of Uganda, the Insurance Regulatory Authority, Capital Markets Authority, Uganda Securities Exchange, the Uganda Retirement Benefits Regulatory Authority. We've worked with a couple of those authorities and other associations. And the purpose of that was really to have a well-set approach in as far as enforcement, but also supervision of these requirements with our respective regulators. We are aware, for example, Bank of Uganda has issued a notice on expectations from the regulated financial institutions in as far as sustainability related information is concerned. But most importantly, while key tenants were included within that notice, reservation was equally considered for you to wait out for the roadmap that will be announced by the Institute. So let's keep at heart, let's keep following these developments, and then we see how we can enable this nation take in consideration issues and matters of sustainability. And lastly, as I see a signal of our people, we've been waiting. You see, for us, standards people, we never get a chance to speak to people like you. And the only chance we get is when there is some delay. And when such delay comes up, we utilize it. Because when you call for a sustainability-related kind of training, we shall have a turn-up of just a handful. So I think it was a blessing. So as I wrap up, ladies and gentlemen, I've said, let us look out for the roadmap. It is really going to speak large into our expectations. We thank the Ministry of Finance, Climate Finance Unit. We thank the Office of the Auditor General, the Office of the Accountant General, Internal Auditor General. We are crafting a paper that would be relevant for internal auditors in as far as their role in sustainability related issues is concerned. And a couple of other entities that we have equally worked well with, we greatly thank you. For the members, those of you who have participated in our surveys, we've had responses from some of the auditing firms. It is very key that you always take part in these discussions because once a pronouncement comes out, the obligation to respect it will be on you. And it would be unfair if you did not participate in such a discussion and then you'll be required to respond to it. So let's take note of that. And as I sign out, ladies and gentlemen, as a way of committing to furthering observations around sustainability reporting, we shall go on with our financial reporting awards. The entries are open. In financial reporting awards, we have a fully-fledged section that addresses or that speaks into sustainability assessment. When you submit a report, the financial reporting awards require that as an entity you submit a report, your annual report, your financial statements, your integrated report, whatever you call it. And once you submit that report in, make sure that report is for any period ending 2024. If your period year end is Feb 2024, please submit that report. If your period year end is March 2024, June 2024, December 2024, please submit that report. That report is going to be reviewed. It's going to be assessed based on a couple of criteria: financial reporting, communication, corporate governance, but most importantly, and what touches what I'm addressing now, is the aspect of sustainability. We are going to be using that as a mechanism of checking compliance with sustainability-related pronouncements. For the public sector players, please, let's not give excuses that the reports are not yet ready. The committee allowed you to submit an earlier report, earlier than the ones of 2024. So whereas with the private sector players, we are looking at 2024, a public sector player could be a municipality, could be a district, could be whatever entity can submit a report that is earlier than 2024. So let us embrace this. Each one of us has space, whether you are a public sector player, whether you are NGO, whether you are in manufacturing, whether you are a financial institution, whether you are in insurance, please take part in the awards. We are closing receipt of submissions on the 30th of September, and thereafter we shall convene as experts, assess, read what you have reported, and on the 5th of November, we shall meet to award those that have excelled amongst those that will have participated. We call upon all of you, ladies and gentlemen, to take part. The beauty with taking part in the financial reporting awards is that you will have a feedback report. A feedback report that, among others, will have clear commentary, but also direction on how to improve on some of your reporting aspects. And now that we are embracing sustainability reporting issues, we are saying you can have your sustainability-related report or aspects of the report assessed by experts at no cost. So I pray that we take part of that. To the practicing members, while the Institute, to all of us, while the Institute issues what we call the e-news, those of you who have taken time to look at the e-news will notice that the e-news puts together a couple of news developments that have occurred. We have also deliberately sieved out aspects of technical issues that touch your practices. So take note of that email. I know we have many emails from the Institute, but take note of that email that addresses the technical aspects for you to improve on your compliance on a number of those issues. For example, in our last week or the other week circulation, we talked about the changed definition of the public interest entities. We talked about the change in reference to IFRS standards and a couple of other developments. So kindly take note of that as our technical section that interfaces with the public. Thank you so much. I see my chair is just close here. I wish you the best of the day.
Thank you very much, Fred. Sorry. You know, now I'm going to explain the Fred bit. There are only two people I know, and they are all both friends of mine, called Rutimba. Sometimes when I meet the other, I say, "Hi, Charles." Sometimes I call this one Fred. So he understands. You may not understand that. I don't care, because the man understands. Now, it is time that we get somebody to share words of wisdom. I can see all of you here have a lot of wisdom, but it's always good to hear somebody else's words of wisdom. I want to call upon CPA John B. Uhaise to come and share a few words of wisdom with us as we wait for one above to come and also share words of wisdom with us. I do appreciate this gentleman. Whenever you ask him to assist you, he does not hesitate. So thank you for always being there to assist people.
Yes, David. You know, when David has run out of what to say, he can easily collapse, and I've seen him collapsing. So to save him from collapsing, I have no choice to come up and step in. There's one thing which is very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. When you are born, like David is born, the responsibility of David's mother and father to take care of you. When you are still a baby, early in the morning you wake you up, they dress you, they take you to school. In the school, teachers take responsibility. Until the university take responsibility. Until you graduate. When you graduate, you transition yourself to another group of people. Remember, when you are young, 100% people are taking responsibility of you. Now, when you leave university, another group of people takes responsibility. Many of you may be employed. Now your employer takes the responsibility. Gives you the professional standard, says you have got to do CPA, you have got to do the sustainability standard, you have got to come on time, you have got to be smart, you have got to put on suits. Assuming the employer was not there, like, you know, the boss of here and Y is here, that's the Geoffrey Amgisha. Chances I will not be in suits. These guys insist you have got to be in suits and the rest. And when you retire, unfortunately, you go into retirement. And retirement, there is no guidelines at all. Can you imagine you are being looked after by Sandra when you are young? I'm sorry to mention Ernest and Young, MTN or Bank of Uganda when you are employed. And when they say go into retirement, no one to look after you. There are no standards, there's no dressing code, there's nothing. So when you see me without any standard, when you see me shabby, you see me I'm out of date, it is because I'm in a sector where I'm not guided. So ladies and gentlemen, you have got to prepare yourself to a stage where no one is guiding you. No one will wake you up. I can tell you I wake up myself. If you don't wake up yourself, you remain in bed the whole day. One time I said, let me wake up. Let me stay in the bed, see when anybody can wake me up. Everybody left the house, and I was left alone. So, ladies and gentlemen, you have got to prepare for that as a matter of interest. That's what I've observed. Many of you are going through the same phase I've gone through, so prepare. Another thing I've seen, despite the qualification, despite everything, I've faced 3 challenges. 3. Those 3 challenges are mainly ignorance, poverty, and disease. You may be a professor, you may be anything as far as Africa is concerned. Those 3 challenges will always be with you. Many of us cannot make the right decision. I didn't prepare for retirement adequately because I was ignorant. I may have been paid handsomely by E and Y. I couldn't invest properly because I was ignorant. So can we, as much as concerned, having a PhD, having a CPA does not drive away the ignorance. The ignorance you overcome is through extensive exposure, extensive networking, extensive sharing. That's why I normally encourage people to attend the Institute's functions. The Institute function affords you a platform where you can meet people from a different background, including Muhaise, who you can ask any question you want. How does it look like to be in the village? I can tell you being in the village is not so bad, because you can see I'm not so bad as you think. My friend David is from the village in Gulu. Village is not so bad. Although a friend of mine told me, if you came from the village, a village is not much associated with poverty. You run away from poverty. How dare you go back where it is? Unfortunately, when you retire, you've got to go back. So better prepare for it. So ladies and gentlemen, there is one thing you have got to fight seriously: ignorance. Accountant, we should be billionaires. We should be the control of the economy. But one thing we have not addressed is ignorance. Some people try to give it names, financial literacy, all that. We know the money, but we don't know how to use it for our benefit. We advise people to become rich. For us, the only thing we know is put on wonderful suits, which are colorless, so that you are not distinguishable. We don't like visibility. If you look at the dress here, I can tell you, if you took a picture of the accountants, there is no one who is visible. Because we prefer to be like that. So ladies and gentlemen, let's address the issue of ignorance. Once we address it, we can be able to address poverty and disease. Now, another thing is, which I came to realize, what is so important if you want to succeed in life? What is so important? As I finish somebody, what is so important? Success in life, people have argued with me, is a personal choice. Don't blame anybody. Don't blame your father, mother, teacher, employer. No, success in life is your personal choice. So if you choose to succeed, you will succeed. If you choose to fail, you'll fail. Now, another thing which is so important, mine is filling the gap. What do you need to succeed in life? If any of you knew the people who are in this room, 900 people by name, you will be successful. Unfortunately, we don't succeed because we don't have a right network. So once you don't have a right network, normally I tell people, when you come to the institute, you're welcome. Yeah. You can see the power of this platform. The speaker you see used to be with us. So if you want to be the next PS, come at this forum and speak. You'll be there. Yeah? David, do I stop here? Yeah. Even he has told me don't conclude, just stop there. Ladies and gentlemen, have a nice morning.
Thank you very much, JMB. I had to stop you because when you came to this microphone, you said I had collapsed. Now, when I went to President Chibedi, he described a certain form of collapsing, which, you see, he said I had collapsed horizontally. And why would I collapse here horizontally? Ladies and gentlemen, the long anticipated moment has come, and we are now officially going to start our program. As the motto of our country says, even before the country, we talk about God. So let me call upon CPA Faustin Oriongan, I hope I pronounced it properly, the principal accountant, Soroti University, to come and lead us into prayer.
Let's humble ourselves for a word of prayer. Precious Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for this day. We thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the gift of professional training. Father, we want to ask for your blessing, oh God, as we strive for sustainable growth for our country. Help us individually and collectively to help our nation to achieve sustainable growth, oh my Master. Father, be with us. Guide us, grant us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as we deliberate in this economic forum. Father, we thank you, we pray and ask all this in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Faustin. Now I want to request all of you to get hold of your seminar magazine, this one, and go to page 4. As you go to page 4, I also request the people on technology to prepare. I talked about the motto of the country. We have finished the for God. Now we are going to country. Please stand up and we pay respect to our country.
Oh, Uganda, may God uphold thee. We lay our future in thy hand. United, free for liberty, together we'll always stand.
tunaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Uzalendo pia mshikamano viwe msingi wa umoja wetu, na tulinde uhuru na amani, mila zetu na desturi zetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu. Viwandani na hata mashambani, tufanye kazi sote kwa makini, tujitoe kwa hali na mali, tuijenge jumuiya bora. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Because I said I'm the above, you can sit. Permission granted. Now, I'm going to talk about people whose shoes I'm not even empowered to undo the lesson. I want to, on everybody's behalf, to welcome our own Field Marshal Ramadan Govi. I call him Field Marshal because he commands two generals. Commands the Accountant General and the Internal General, who commands generals apart from Field Marshal. President DTE and the council members, President JOO, President DOO, President FK, former council members and former vice presidents, because I would be in trouble if I didn't recognize that particular person. Now, at this moment, allow me to hand you over to the person to chair this session. This individual is the vice president of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda. He's a partner with Biz and Co. He's passionate about governance, research. He has worked in oil and gas, investment management. He's been a member of ICPAU project subcommittee, a member of the finance committee. He's a certified, no, sorry, sir. You are chartered financial analyst. And I'm assuming, and he's happily married. Yeah. But Mr. Vice President, before you come in, allow me to invite one of your person from your team, from the IT, to come and guide us on, because this event is going to be heavily reliant on IT. So Zachary, Eric Mugisha, please come and run us through one of the platforms we are going to use so that it will make us.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 13th ICPAU 13th ICPAU Economic Forum. I'm just going to take you briefly through the technology we are using, and also encourage those of you that are yet to update your members' information to please do. Let me start off. Sorry about that. Today, we really encourage each of you to join the conversations on social media, share with us your opinions, thoughts, and feedback. The Economic Forum is supposed to be a platform where we deliberate on national policy. We think and we want every Ugandan to know what accountants are doing towards national policy. Please do share with us your feedback on the hashtag 13ICPAU Econ Forum. This is available on all social media platforms, including mostly Twitter, but also including the likes of TikTok. For the entire forum, for those who have been wanting to find pictures that are being taken here, please just scan this code. When you scan this code, you should be able to get into a folder that will have all pictures from today, tomorrow, the night activities, and all the other co-curricular activities that are going to be here in Entebbe. Secondly, I want you to update your members' information. This is very important. We've had issues where people come to ask for their certificates, missing information, documents leaving the institute going to wrong postal addresses, people whose next of kins changed, people who changed offices. Please do scan this code and update your information. I'm going to leave it for a second. This is very crucial because this is how we get to communicate to you. These slides are going to remain displayed on the screens. For those who are not able to scan these codes in due time, you'll be able to scan during the presentations and the breaks. Also, Also, key information for you, I really want to encourage you to scan this code. When you scan this code, you'll find a list of links to all our social media platforms and communication platforms. Please scan this code, join the WhatsApp updates channel where we share daily updates from the Institute, from our partners, as well as from key stakeholders. Please do scan this code, follow us on social media, Twitter, Facebook, including TikTok. I know that Edge here really consumes TikTok even when they don't create TikTok content. Please do scan and follow us so we are able to talk to you in due time. That's it. Oh, finally, something we skipped, sorry. When it comes to Slido, I forgot to mention this. Please, the same code that we are using as the hashtag for the event is the Slido hashtag. When you log on to www.slido.com, you enter this code, you'll be able to ask all questions that are coming, that you want the presenters to react to from this forum. Please do use this, and if you have any issues regarding this, please don't hesitate to visit any of my fellows over that table and the next table, just to give you information on how you are able to interact with us today, tomorrow, and Friday. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you, Zachary. Now, I already told you my name is Jaden, and you know Jadens can get away with a lot of things. Vice President Alfred, your session is supposed to end at 10:20. Find a way of managing. So as he comes, IT, we had agreed that he moves in with that cartoon, but to start coming, there is a tune which you need to teach us the dance strokes too. If it's not ready, we'll do it.
Yeah, yeah! A special CPA dedication for every member, every student, every practitioner. ICPA, you. Let's go! In the pearl of Africa, a story's being told.
Thank you. In the Power of Africa, you are most welcome. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming to this 13th ICPA Economic Forum with the theme Sustainable Economic Growth, Transforming Today, Thriving Tomorrow. When CPA John Moise was speaking, and I looked at the theme, I imagined that all of us in our mind today, we should be thinking how to sustain ourselves economically, how to transform ourselves, not just tomorrow, but also today, how to thrive even today at a personal level, because that is the only way we can even support the people we wish to support. And with today's keynote speaker, and the team we have here, it is an excellent team, as you can see. We have the new council members. Can you stand wherever we are with our president, Timothy Ediom? Can we clap for the president? This is his first major event. So Timothy, we are going to be testing you. They are going to be testing all of us as a team to ensure that we deliver a seamless event. I will invite CPA Derek. We have a few remarks to make, and then we'll have CPA Timothy Ediom, and then I will introduce the keynote speaker. Thank you.
CPA Derek Nkaja is the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda. He is the Treasurer for the Uganda Cooperative Savings and Credit Union, apex body for SACCOs in Uganda, and the Non-Executive Director of CIC Africa Uganda Limited. He serves on the board of Mengo Hospital. He also serves as a member of the Trade Committee of the Private Sector Foundation of Uganda. Previously, CPA Nkaja served as a member of the Compliance Advisory Panel of the International Federation of Accountants representing Africa, and also represented Eastern Africa on the board of the Pan-African Federation of Accountants. He holds a Master of Business Administration from Edinburgh Business School, Heriot-Watt University, UK.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Chair, CP Alfred Kabuchu. Our keynote speaker, Dr. Ramadan Gobi, the President of ICPAU, council members present, our past presidents in the House, our past council members, CPAs in the House, and our participants. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'll try to be as brief as possible. Mine is to welcome you to this 13th Cpa Economic Forum and encourage you to participate as much as possible. This is a forum where we speak as accountants. Kindly share your thought processes, your thoughts, and whatever you'd like us to pass on to the government. Together, we become the thought leaders and advisors of our government. Just one issue for me to voice out, since we have our keynote speaker, is that increasingly we are hearing stories of complaints about our accountants, about our members who don't reach. So it's my call, PSST, that your ministry public sector reports any professional matter to the Institute, because I think that's why the government put in place the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda to handle professional matters for accountants. Lastly, and this is operational, but I know you oversee this agency which I'm going to talk about, we'd like to have close, strong cooperation with URA as accountants to operationalize Section 16 of the Tax Procedures Code Act. There's no way it can be operationalized without them knowing who the accountants are. And we are very grateful that last year they started operationalizing it, but we need to link our systems for better procedures and for better follow-up. With those few remarks, I invite the President to address us.
CPA Timothy David Idiomo is the President of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda. He is a partner at Idiomo & Company since 2006. Between 2000 to 2005, CPA Idiomo was a finance director at UKI Uganda Limited. He also served as auditor and audit assistant.
Thank you. Most of you know me, so we can save time on that. Our keynote speaker, Mr. Ramadan Gobi, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and Secretary to the Treasury of the Republic of Uganda, and long-suffering fan of Manchester United. Enamoring with trust, we shall get there slowly. We might see a trophy next year. Members of ICPA Council, members of committees of ICPA Council, guest speakers, past president and past secretaries of the Institute, CPS and participants attending in person and online, media practitioners, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and a very warm welcome to the 13th Cpa Economic Forum. I know it's not a warm morning, but you're welcome. It is a great honor and privilege to address this esteemed gathering of professional thought leaders and change makers who are committed to shaping the future of Uganda's economy. I stand before you today as the newly elected President of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda. I am humbled by the trust you placed in me to lead this noble profession, and I thank ICPAU members for turning out to vote. You gave me not only the majority vote, but I was also elected unopposed. I am humbled. I look forward to working with all of you as we harness the power of accountancy to drive meaningful transformation and lasting impact across our country. On a special note, I would like to recognize the newly elected council members of the Institute, dedicated volunteers with whom I have the privilege of working with as we chart the future of our profession. I'll quickly ask them to step forward. Just very quickly, starting with my VP. You can join me at the front so that we know who you are. We also have CPA Sandra Bate, CPA Nancy Ambuke, and the representative of the Minister of Finance, who is also the Internal Auditor General, CPA Fixon. I think CPA Albert Otete is not in the house. I don't see CPA Christine Mukuma as well. But let's appreciate the few who are here. CPA James Bantu is also not around. You may resume your seats. Mr. PSST, in June this year, members of ICPA went to the polls and elected 7 members of council, whom you have just seen. So I would also like to appreciate the previous council for a tremendous job done, particularly for steering the Institute through the challenging post-COVID period, maintaining a steady growth which has paved the way for a smooth transition. And on this note, I would like to recognize the presence of former council members present, beginning with the immediate past president, Cpa Josephine Osia. I'm talking to you. Please stand up and wave. Our immediate past Vice President, Cpa Ronald, I stopped there. You have issues with pronunciations. Past ministerial appointee, Stephen Serujoji, I don't know if you're in. Professor Loro Robia, Gloria Wakoba, and lastly, CPA Honorable Nathan Mafabi, a potential resident of the house next door. Let's appreciate them, please. Thank you, past president and your team. We pledge to continue carrying the flag high. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to recognize the past presidents in the house, other than those I've introduced, on whose shoulders we stand. CPA Frederick Kibedi, who is already well dressed for the black for dinner. CPA David Opio-Kello, who has joined us all the way from Lango, and like Jayden mentioned earlier, he has been the most consistent attendee president. Thank you very much. Mr. PSST, the Economic Forum serves as a vital economic policy think tank, not just for the accountancy profession, but for all Ugandans who are passionate about shaping the economic future. You have been part of the Economic Forum for a while, and we thank you for coming back. We truly missed you. At one point, we thought you might never come back, but we are happy to see you. Your presence at the Economic Forum is of utmost value to us because it means our message will fall in the rightful ears, especially of the resident next door. But besides this, the Institute enjoys a cordial working relationship with the Minister of Finance, and for this we are truly grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2023, the Minister of Finance received an Institutional Partner Award for its commitment to promoting the accountancy profession through supporting the authorization of the Accountants Act. Let's appreciate them for that. I would also like to appreciate the government of Uganda for the progress in Uganda's economic growth, which has grown to 226.3 trillion shillings. Life expectancy has also increased to 68.2. So I'm likely to see a lot of you in old age as well, so better be nice. And lastly, we graduated from the category of least developed countries to lower middle income status. Even if it hasn't yet reached you personally, let's applaud. The challenges persist, no doubt, and of course a lot of work needs to be done. We are all aware of that. What were our resolutions? The forum is organized as part of the contribution to the accountancy profession towards economic progress of our country, with financial management, financial reporting, tax and audit skills. When our ideas are adopted, we are happy, but more importantly, Uganda wins. We are pleased with the direction that the government is taking. The 3-year income tax holiday for startup businesses. For you grown-up businesses, we are sorry, but let's help the children starting out. The growing collaboration between the Uganda Revenue Authority and government agencies like NIRA will complement revenue mobilization efforts. And of course, the reform in the penalty scheme for non-compliance with IFRIS will likely spur a more positive inclination towards adoption and improvement in VAT compliance. Our theme for the 13th Economic Forum is sustainable economic growth, transforming today, thriving tomorrow. We hope to inspire further progress In short, we have to consume sustainably. As Uganda continues to harness its rich resources, youthful population and strategic location, the focus on sustainable economic growth becomes pertinent. This involves adopting innovative practices that promote industrialization, agro-processing, and digital transformation, while ensuring environmental conservation and social equity. Let me just pause to remind ourselves, those of you past the fourth floor, I'm sure somewhere in your childhood, you used to go to the butcher and your meat was wrapped in banana leaves. But today, we are clothed in plastic. 100 years from today, archaeologists will pick up made in 2024, 2025, a container. There will be no fossils. So transforming today means embracing green technologies, digital innovations, enhancing value chains, and strengthening infrastructure to support diverse sectors of the economy. What do we require from government? To support these efforts, Uganda requires a robust financial reporting framework to guide sustainability reporting in compliance with international standards. PSST, in September 2024, ICPAU made a pronouncement on the adoption of IFRS Sustainability Disclosure Standards. These standards are a comprehensive global baseline of standards to facilitate consistent and comparable reporting on sustainability and climate. Uganda was recognized among the 17 jurisdictions worldwide with a demonstrated commitment to enhancing sustainability reporting. When you are 17 globally, you know Uganda will normally start from the bottom when we look for ourselves. So clap for yourselves. Here we are leading the pack. Our request to you, PSST, is to support the implementation efforts among public sector entities when the roadmap becomes available. As I conclude, I would like to draw your attention to some concerns raised by accountants in the public sector, particularly regarding human capital development. Here I need to concentrate. First, I would like to appreciate the government for supporting the professionalization of public sector accounting staff through supporting their CPA studies and CPD programs. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ministry of Finance is among the organizations that sends the largest number of attendees to ICPAU CPD events. A close look at the register for this forum will prove this. We further note the support for membership subscriptions. Let's at least appreciate. Let's learn to be grateful. However, the issue of salary disparity lingers quite prominently, especially among colleagues in the local governments. Working for the local governments as an accountant is equated to now local salary. And PSST, if you look keenly in the room, you'll notice our accountants who work in the local governments. I'm not attacking anyone. It is our prayer that government will look into the salaries of professional accountants in the public sector as part of promoting professionalism and sustainability efforts. Social aspect is a critical component of sustainability. Therefore, it's our prayer that these matters are addressed. We shall be grateful for developments in this regard. We would like to thank the Ministry for your unwavering support towards the Cpa Economic Forum and the Institute's activities since inception. Your continued partnership has been instrumental in advancing the accountancy profession and promoting national development. It is in the spirit of development that we are constructing our permanent home at Plot 42 Bukoto Street. And I must hasten to add that we are constructing with our own money, and we are finishing the building with our own money. So what we are begging for is really something small after the meal has been prepared, We humbly request your support towards the furnishment of these offices. This project represents a significant milestone for the Institute, providing a modern, functional space that will enhance our ability to serve our members and the nation at large. A request regarding this matter was earlier submitted to the Honorable Minister, and we now pray that through your kind able guidance, this aspiration will be realized. With your support, we believe this new home will be a center of excellence for accountancy in Uganda. And I also encourage our members in the room to pass by and see what we are doing there. Before I leave the podium, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my heartfelt appreciation to our partners, Uganda National Oil Company. Let's clap as we announce. The Electoral Commission, National Social Security Fund, Uganda Printing and Publishing Company. Let me just emphasize they are not located on Nasa Road. Uganda Electricity Generation Company Limited, National Agricultural Research Organization, Centenary Bank, and lastly, MTN Uganda. I wish to thank you all participants for attending physically or virtually and for your dedication to the advancement of our economy. Let us seize this opportunity to reaffirm our shared responsibility to transform our economy. Let us be bold in generating innovative ideas, challenging the status quo, and pushing for systems that serve every Ugandan fairly and sustainably. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to hear from our keynote speaker, Mr. Ramadan Gobi. You're welcome. I think the team will pray. I'll hand over to the chair to invite him. So PSST will pray for our team also. Nowadays I only wear the socks, I no longer wear the jersey. Thank you very much for listening.
Ramadan Gobi is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance.
Can we give our president a very big clap, please? Thank you, Timothy, and we wish you the best in this 24 months, we say. You can see I started very well with a very serious plea that we should fill this house, even with our colleagues in the accountants who are working in the public sector. Can we see those who are in the public sector, in government? Local, okay, this is government, yes. Can we give them a very big clap? Because you can see a good presentation. Those in the private sector, those are accountants in the private sector. We are told this is a private sector-led economy. Where are the accountants? Can we clap for them as well? Can we see those who are not CPAs but are in the house? Those who are not. Can we please stand and we clap for you, please? Can we clap for these people? Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, and you are most welcome. They announced the sponsors for the Economic Forum, but there is a category that was not announced. Those of you who have also paid for this Economic Forum and you are not in the categories they announced, can you please clap for yourselves as well? Because you are also serious sponsors. Thank you very, very much. I'd like to introduce Mr. Ramadan Gobi. We know him and he's always very welcome. I request the team to please play his CD.
Ramadan Gobi is the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, and Secretary to the Treasury of the Republic of Uganda since July 2021. He is an accomplished economist and policy analyst who has spent most of his career teaching economics at various universities, particularly Makerere University Business School, where he headed a think tank, the MOOBS Economic Forum. Between September 2017 and September 2020, Mr. Gobi served on the board of directors of the Uganda Development Corporation, where he was rated the best director. Between June 2020 and July 2021, he served as a senior presidential advisor on national economy. Mr. Gobi has consulted with several organizations, including the International Labour Organization, Overseas Development Institute UK, Friedrich Ebert Stiftung, Financial Sector Deepening Uganda, and Action Coalition for Development and Environment. He holds a master's degree in Economic Policy and Planning from Makerere University and is a PhD candidate at Walden University, USA.
Thank you very much. Can we clap for him? As Mr. Gobi comes, I just want to emphasize that his keynote address is on sustainable economic growth, transforming today, thriving tomorrow. You are most welcome.
Thank you very much. The President of the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Uganda and your Council, the CEO, and all the senior government officials, as well as officers. I've seen a number of my colleagues I work with, the Internal Auditor General is here. I haven't seen the Acting Accountant General. I think I left him behind there. Sorry for coming in late. We were finalizing something critical. And all the members of this powerful professional body. Whenever I come to ICPA, I'm coming home. I've been here in the past, and I was also missing you, Mr. President and CEO, because we used to have very good conversations. I thank those who invited me, and I'm going to use the slides to deliver my few remarks which I wanted to give you as a keynote on the topic that you gave us. I will start by showing you Uganda's transformation profile. And as I think it was the President indicated, Uganda has met the criteria for graduating from the LDC category. Meeting the criteria does not mean that we've graduated. We have met the criteria, now we have to work harder even to ensure that in the next couple of years, the United Nations will declare us as now a country which is no longer among those you see in blue. All of those you see in blue are LDCs, and Uganda is about very near the finishing line to change the color to the other colorless ones. It's a fundamental achievement for the country. Uganda's growth has also been one of the highest in the region, but also in the world. When we were under the Poverty Eradication Action Plan, actually the economy of Uganda grew much faster at an average of 7.3% between 2001 and 2010. And it doubled the GDP in 10 years. When we started the development planning, Central Development Planning in 2010, 2011 fiscal year, we have seen our average growth reducing to an average of about 5%. And we we have been able to double the size of the economy in a relatively longer period of 15 years. We have diagnosed the causes of this slowdown in the growth. And now our modelers are showing us that if we do certain things differently, which I'm going to show you, we stand a very good chance of growing much faster. And we are able to double the economy, the size of the economy in 5 years, every 5 years. And the NDP4 going forward, as I'm going to show you. So as you can see on this graph, we have recovered from the challenges of COVID and the other associated shocks. You know, Uganda faced a lot of shocks like other countries. From COVID, we have had wars, we had Ebola, we had the seasonality, we've had a number of challenges. But if you check that graph, that curve in blue, the curve, not the bars, you see that from the year 2019-20 fiscal year up to this fiscal year we have just ended last month, Uganda's economy was consistently growing. And that graph is almost like a tick. From 2018-19 went down because of COVID and those challenges. But we have recovered fully and we have gained momentum now to growing at an average of 7% in the medium term. That's what we are targeting before oil. And when oil revenues come in, we target now a growth rate of 8.6% and into double digits. This journey we want to make is a journey which is targeting what we have termed the tenfold growth strategy. In the next 15 years, our economy has the potential to grow and achieve what we have never seen, all of us in this room. All of us who are born in poverty, we have grown up in poverty, some of us we shall die in poverty. But those who are going to hold on by 2040, you might see a Uganda which is different. Because we have what we call the ATMs, which we have already popularized. We have sat down and crafted a strategy, which we are saying, if we could leverage the resources we have in terms of agricultural produce, agricultural production, let alone, I'm going to show you later, the productivity is still low and so on. But if we added value to our agricultural value chains, coffee, the fruits, the tea, the cocoa, the bananas, the milk products, and the beef, and the chicken, and so on, just add value to them. And we stop exporting them as raw materials, we have a potential of growing or of achieving $20 billion per annum from agriculture alone, the agricultural value chains, by adding value to what we have. But I'm going to show you what we must do also to ensure that the value addition is done and we achieve that. Then tourism, another sleeping giant for Uganda. I remember when we used to come here, I first presented papers to you. I was a critique of the economy of Uganda. You know, things really change. Now, I'm the one to explain the things which go wrong or which must be done to ensure that we don't go wrong. Those days I used to identify them. and I let the others explaining them. Then later I became a rapporteur of your fraternity. Tourism was always talked about as one of the areas, if we exploited its potential, we can grow much faster, because Uganda, we are a beautiful country. No question about it. Many people across the world, when they come here, they can't believe what we are sitting on. But we have talked this story of gifted by nature and so on enough. Now we are saying there are certain things we can do in tourism alone. Attract more tourists, and they stay longer, they spend more, and we get an average of $50 billion. Now we are getting $1.5 billion. This 1.5 is coming without effort. It is like a autopilot. When a plane is in autopilot, that is the fastest running. That tourism, you see, $1.5 billion we are earning when people are on their own, those who are trying to make money out of it, when infrastructure to our tourism sites is wanting, when sanitation standards are very poor, when we are not even in marketing. Now, beginning this financial year, you're going to see change in the way we approach tourism. And we expect that by 2040, tourism receipts should have grown to about 50 billion. We have the ability to do so. The minerals is another area we are looking at. Uganda is also endowed with minerals, and we all know them in the room, from the gold to the phosphates, the iron ore, the tin, the zinc, every mineral almost, except diamonds and a few others have not yet been discovered. But we have small quantities of almost each mineral, which other countries have. And as if that was not good enough, God gave us oil recently. We also got oil where we expect about $2 billion a year, beginning 2026, 27. Now, we are saying if we developed the value chains in the minerals, we have worked on quantification, we are accelerating it, and now we are getting partners. We have already gotten partners in oil and gas. We are getting partners who have built the gold refineries. Now we can refine gold up to 99.9% purity. And the Bank of Uganda now can buy it and stock it as reserves. But this gold alone, we are now earning $3 billion from it. Now we are saying if we build these value chains like iron ore, and we get our stones from wherever they are in Kigezi or in eastern Uganda, and we turn them into steel, and we get the phosphates, and we produce the fertilizers for the region and beyond, and we get all these other minerals, including uranium. We have uranium in Uganda. We have lithium, a very important mineral now for the decarbonization agenda in the world. All of farms now are looking for countries like Uganda, which have these rare minerals that are needed in the e-vehicle mobility. And we have them. And the good thing, the president has said, no more export of raw minerals. If you want them, come here, you partner with us, we develop value chains. We are getting partners, and we expect about $25 billion on an annual basis going forward. The big sector where total factor productivity resides is STI, science, technology, and innovation, including digital transformation. Here, we are looking at it as the multiplier sector, the sector which is going to enable all the other three to actually achieve those numbers and then create a multiplier. You remember the multiplier concept. the number of times the money we are creating in the other sectors will multiply itself to create more GDP. And that's how we get to the 500 billion eventually. But now somebody may ask, haven't we heard about all of that story before? Agriculture, tourism, minerals. We have not just discovered minerals, they have been there. STI maybe is the new thing emerging, the new economy, the knowledge economy, but we have heard the stories of the others. So what is different? What's new? These 5 things, ladies and gentlemen. If we are to stand a chance to get Uganda to a $500 billion economy, we must change certain things. Number 1, we must clean up. Cleaning up means we must learn the culture of enforcing rules of the game. The chaos we have in Uganda must stop. On the roads, in the markets, in hotels, everywhere you go in Uganda, chaos. In the courts, we must clean up. We must enforce rules, regulations, laws. We have them. I was happy when the president talked about, I think it was the the CEO, about accountants. If we have any professional, challenges about the professionality of account, all of that is the cleaning up. Look at our roads. Recently, and Uganda, it has a lot of saboteurs, I think. In the job of cleaning up, we must regulate the way we drive ourselves on the roads. Or else these roads we are building are going to kill us. We are not going to get rid of traffic congestion in the cities. Look at Kampala city, a mess. So many potholes, floods, and then a cocktail of road users, wheelbarrows, with the cows crossing the highway, and the matatus that are going on dancing on the road. They are beyond DMC, and so on. Sometimes I wonder, who owns these vehicles? Why are they still on the road? We must clean up, because we shall not get those tourists we are talking about, high quality tourists, when we have that chaos. We shall not be able to multiply our GDP in Kampala when we have that chaos. Now recently, we said, let's fine those who cause trouble. The one who sets the fines decided to set the most ridiculous ones. The most ridiculous. The one who's enforcing was also like a robot. That there is a speed limit of 30 miles per hour on Entebbe Expressway. Incredible creature. So we must ensure that we clean up by getting rid of all this indiscipline in Uganda, beginning with those who are playing around with the policy making and so on. Teaming up, we must build consensus as Uganda, as well as the discipline of teamwork, of discipline of realizing that we are nothing without others, and working to ensure that we can build a country based on the discipline. These countries we visit, East Asian countries don't have resources. They developed because of cleaning up and teaming up. The discipline in East Asia, when they decide on a national policy, then you don't come and you say, in my view, this should be, in my opinion. These things we only find them in Africa. A small person, whom we call a street bureaucrat, in Uganda has a different view from that of the government, and he enforces his. This is the challenge we are having. We are going to skill up. to skill up, which is self-explanatory, and I'm going to show you some areas. We are going to green up. When my friend is there, we used to have these discussions whenever we are talking about growth. Was always talking about sustainability, the future of these areas we are growing. When you are cutting all the forests, you are drying up all the wetlands, you are getting all the streams contaminated. How are you going to develop Uganda? So we are pursuing development that considers preservation of the environment. And finally, linking up, ensuring that we build first regional value chains, but also global value chains, and we integrate also in these value chains. As you can see, Uganda, I don't know whether, by the way you are aware, your country, small as it is and poor and confused with certain few things, is also considered by the Growth Lab. There is a Growth Lab at Harvard. I want you to visit it. It is accessible on the internet. The Growth Lab at Harvard. There is a team of wonderful innovators led by Ricardo Hausmann, Professor Ricardo Hausmann, one of the best economists I've seen myself. I've sat in his classes before. They have modeled and projected where the global economies are going. And Uganda now is number one in terms of growth potential. But they are saying for you to exploit this growth potential, you must work on complexity of the products. Complexity is measured in terms of those goods that you produce and they are near the global value chains or integrated in the value chains. What we still have a problem in Uganda, we are producing less complex products. But they have found that among economies at our level of income, a lower level of income, our level of complexity is much higher than expected. And the growth levels, therefore, are higher. And they are also finding that we are likely to become the fastest growing economy by 2030. So this is why we are working on how do we get integrated in these value chains. This gives us a case for policy consensus. Which areas are we targeting as government? The first one is labor productivity. Uganda is being held back by not only law, but reducing productivity of Ugandans. The second is public health and safety, another area which is holding us back. Last week, I had some people from UAE, some investors who are putting a lot of money, coming to put a lot of money in Uganda. They came and I asked them, what do you want us to do? They said only one thing, PS. Work on your sanitation levels as a country. Work on them, clean up your country. That's it. Urban planning and housing and then land use. Those areas we need to work on them. The first one, on the productivity, which I've said is suppressed because it is low, but also reducing. Look at the first graph on the left. It shows the value added per worker by sector. Agriculture, on average, a person in Uganda who's working in agriculture is earning $561 a year. That's the average. That's the annual average income per worker in agriculture. In industry, is earning 4,920. In services, $5,510. I think like a UCPS service sector. you are earning on average 500. Of course, you are earning much more, but there are those who are earning, and I think the president alluded to them, in local government, where the productivity levels, the value add, the money they add is very low. Agriculture is holding us back because it is largely subsistence, depending on gifts of nature, with limited science, R&D use. When you come to employment, agriculture is the largest employer. You know, it employs, look at those bars. It is the one which is employing Ugandans, but those Ugandans are not productive. And then when you come to sectoral productivity, look at agriculture, that green bar, which is like a table, ready for someone to sleep on. That is agriculture. In terms of the share of total employment, agriculture is 70%. But when it comes to the sectoral productivity, it is very low. Then the blue, which is employing very few Ugandans, it has the highest productivity. That's why we must industrialize Uganda, if we want to get the productivity levels. You can't develop a country of gardeners. No, we're not even farmers. You know, all of us, we call ourselves farmers. Everybody in Uganda, I am a CPA, but also farmer. You farm on WhatsApp. Now, when you go to check the farm, most of us are gardeners. A farmer is a very serious person, professional. But these gardeners, we the gardeners of Uganda are not productive. We must get out of agriculture and do more industry. That's why we are working on those value chains I talked about. So productivity. The second case where we must have consensus is increasing the stock of high-skilled workers. It is related to the previous one. For you to get productivity, you must have the skilled workers. Look at the trends in the proportion of the leading causes of mortality, first of all, in health facilities in Uganda. You can't have people who are sick and they become productive. When you look at our mortality, 70% of the deaths which happen in Uganda in health facilities are preventable. They were not supposed to be in a hospital. But we are, all of us, chorusing curative health. Finance, allocate more money to the Cancer Institute. Finance, allocate more money to build more health center force. Finance, provide more money to NMS to buy more medicine. What is happening? The people of Uganda are not exercising, drinking a lot of alcohol, eating a lot of things which are not supposed to be eaten, and those things are contaminated with aflatoxin. Then they go to hospital. They give them a kilogram of medicine. Then they go and take it. And it causes more health challenges. Then when they get some strength, they go back to their lifestyle. No exercise, eating all sorts of things. We eat what is available. When there are so many kilograms of meat, we eat them. One person eats 2 kilograms of that animal, which I don't want to talk about, and 2 liters of alcohol. You have deposited enough chaff in your body to get sick. Now, all these are, then we're going to die. Preventable diseases. That's why now we are saying we need a consensus to invest more in preventive health care in Uganda. We were in Singapore, they took us, the entire government, all of the PSS, with our head of service. We were in one plane. We went to Singapore. A few months, I think like a month ago. And while there, one of the senior leaders of Singapore, the public service, came to make a presentation. He showed us that in Singapore, it's only 6% of the public service working in health. And the national budget of Singapore, which is spent on health care, is also 6%. 46% of Singapore's public service is education, teachers. And about 44% of the national budget is spent on education. And in Singapore, I asked why. I'm the one who asked the man, why are you spending less on health? He said, because we don't allow ill health here. We don't fall sick in Singapore. Everybody is out there to ensure that you keep healthy and alive. Actually, when we were in the hotel, we were the ones remaining there. In the morning, you see everybody has gone to run, and they are running out there. We were all the Ugandans who were in the hotel. So, we need to work on preventive, ladies and gentlemen. The third one is urban planning and housing. There are very huge linkages between local manufacturing and service sectors, the local housing construction, and international competitiveness. Those are very well linked up. And the point number one here, Uganda has the opportunity to create more orderly response to our rapid urbanization. Uganda has one of the fastest growing urban centers in Africa. We are growing at 5.6%. Ugandans are getting out of the village. And this is a good thing. Nobody should tell you that rural urban migration is a problem. It's a good problem. People should get out of the rural areas into urban centers to increase productivity. But don't just put them in a bus and drive them. They should be moving organically by getting better paying jobs. The quickest way of getting poverty in China, has a record. It is the country which wiped out poverty in one generation, and massive poverty. In China, they moved 500 million people out of poverty. It has never happened anywhere else. And how did they do it? The quickest way was to get money to buy a ticket for a train, and you get to the next town, and you get a job in a factory. That's how the Chinese went out of poverty. From farming rice to running machines in a factory. We must work on urbanization by ensuring that our urban centers are orderly. Point number 2, in NDP 3 period, Uganda had an average annual housing demand of 180,000 units, increasing the stock of units from 2.9 to 3.8 million. What we are not showing you in this data is that we had a deficit of 62% of these units. That's why you see there is a problem in housing. People are demanding the houses, they are not there. Residential housing construction and rental made a total direct economic impact equivalent to 11% of GDP. And the banking industry is exhibiting a growing preference for commercial buildings, with commercial property accounting for 53%. But most importantly, the supply of housing products in the market to meet average urban households, we are seeing them now inadequate. We don't have enough materials to construct. And as a result, more affordable houses are needed in Uganda. But the keyword here, the password is affordable. Why? Because on average, 68% of the urban dwellers in Uganda earn between 1.1 million shillings per month, implying that they can only afford a house which is about 20 million and below. Any house which is above 20 million, they can't buy it. Is there an NSSF here? Who's the CPA from NSSF? You know, I'm on the board of NSSF. Mama, we need to work on what we call affordable housing. What we call sometimes affordable housing is not affordable. As far as a Ugandan is concerned, a house of 200 million, that's affordable. That is for CPAs. For the people who are earning 1 million, the house they can afford is 20 million. We need to work out technologies which can get these houses. That's what they have done in the East Asia. And finally, with a contribution of about 40% to the greenhouse emissions, the real estate sector is a prime candidate for greening the economy. We need to green it. Yes, that one I will skip it. And I go to the last one. Land use planning for greening up. Uganda has what we call a growth triangle. In that map of Uganda, you see those red lines. That is our growth triangle. The growth of Uganda happens in that triangle, inside. That's where you find about 2/3 of the GDP produced. It's the fastest growing area. Now, we need to mainstream this growth triangle in the delivery of integrated transport and infrastructure services. It is the first area which must be worked on to have fast mobility, and we are targeting it. That's where you are going to find the SGR, that's where you're going to find the highways, expressways, that's where you are going to find the light rails and the BTR, which we are working on. The rest explain exactly what I've been trying to say. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, Uganda has laid a very firm foundation for the double-digit economic growth, which is going to lead us to the $500 billion economy. In Uganda, we are bridging the infrastructure gaps quite fast. Electricity, now we have generated it and we are transmitting it, and it is renewable, clean energy, thankfully. The roads, where we have been having huge gaps, are now linking up the country, but not linking up the production areas, which we are now working on. The railway transport, we are investing now in the standard gauge railway, a total of $2.7 billion. The contractor is on ground, has started mobilizing. We want to build this railway in the next 4 years. Because Uganda is a landlocked country, there are people who are saying, does this railway, does it have the NPVs, and is it a viable venture? Those people don't listen to them. They are not good economists. Economics shows you that when you are landlocked, the fastest way you can transition yourself from a landlocked to a land-linked country is by building evacuation routes, and the railway is the main bet for us. And we are building it now. Then we have the airports, which we are also expanding and building regional airports. The one in Karamoja is advancing very fast. The one in Kabale, in Hoima, is almost complete. We are going to start the one in Gulu and the one in Chigezi, southwestern Uganda, so that we can have these, some of them as international airports, where the aircrafts can take off and go to other countries and so on. Then sport infrastructure, sport and culture is also something we are now very serious on, and we are building those sport facilities. Macroeconomic stability is another fundamental we are working on as a firm foundation for rapid growth. Uganda said bye-bye to inflation. The shilling is stable. It has been the most stable currency in the past 5 years, the shilling. In Africa, we are also having the macroeconomy well managed between us and the Bank of Uganda. Bank of Uganda is doing a fantastic job of ensuring that the money in circulation is what we need, not what we want. There are some people who say, but you know, PS, you are saying the economy is growing, but we are not feeling the money in the pockets. That's how the economy should be. You remember, even in commerce, they used to teach us, good money must be scarce. When it is too much, everybody has money. It ceases to be good money. And then security also has been worked on. The second is opportunities. We have great opportunities for scaling private sector, for business to consumers, business to business, government to business. Those opportunities are there. Government is committed to delivering enablers and ATMs, which we have already looked at. And finally, mobilizing FDI. You know, Uganda, we are a capital-constrained country. Some people sometimes ask, why are you people in economy, why are you emphasizing a lot these foreigners? For us, are we not here? The foreigners should bring capital. Uganda, we are a capital-constrained country. We don't have capital. Actually, two things, capital and technology. So when you get a good partner with capital or technology, bring him to Uganda. We need him. And those are the FDI. But also financial inclusion. That PDM, Parish Development Model, I remember we discussed it in my last appearance here. That PDM is going to change villages of Uganda, because money used not to reach certain villages. Now, money reaches every village in Uganda. Some people were saying, but it reaches to do what there? They are drinking it, they are buying mattresses. First, that is not true. I don't know whether they are going to present to you the PDF in this forum. They should show you where Ugandans are spending the money. But even if it were true that people are drinking it and whatever, they are drinking the local brew in the local bars, and it creates the local economy to gain multiplier. But please don't record this one. I am not saying that Ugandans should go and drink the money. But for me as an economist, sometimes I kill one eye, especially macroeconomist. You see, whatever happens in the macroeconomy of Uganda is good for Uganda. I should tell you as I conclude. There's an economist called Talok. He lived in the 50s and 60s. He was a wonderful thinker. Talok ran a model which found that a thief in a country is just a micro problem, but not a macro problem. When somebody steals your phone, you have lost a phone, you're a victim. But Uganda has not lost anything. It is just a transfer from you to the thief. And the thief might even buy more airtime than you and create more multiplier. That was Talok. But Talok warned that Don't encourage thieves, because once they multiply, you are going now to have rent, the rent seekers and those who are risk avoiders. You need to control the thieving. But otherwise, for a macroeconomist, a thief might not be such a very big problem. I want to end by assuring you that if you joined us as government, as the certified public, chartered accountants, and we work on those 5 things, the apps, we clean up, we team up, we link up, we green up, and also skill up, Uganda will be able to achieve the 10-fold growth. If we don't, we might not achieve it. My senior colleagues in the ministry should remind me of the President's request on your house, your home, so that we can see what we can do in the future. We report it to Cabinet that accountants are not very wealthy as you thought. We need to support them, and we see how we can support. I thank you very much.
Can we give him another very big clap for that good presentation? I think the challenge given to us is how do we participate in the 10x growth for the economy. And we would like to let you know, Mr. Ramadan, that as accountants, we are actually supporting on the part of skilling up. We are professionals in what we do and how we do it. So we request that government also look at us as one of the enablers of the skilling up process, after the accountants and the other professionals. Can we clap for that? And we thank you in advance on supporting us on the facility that we are building, our head office. It is also in the process of supporting the skilling up. We have more than 15,000 students, and we are skilling them up. So thank you very much. Last but not least, at an individual level, how do you participate? And I think Mr. Ramadan has explained to us we should participate beyond being auditors and just advisors. Let us also participate, and I think that is why we are here. We thank you very much. Normally, we don't have Q&A for the keynote speaker, and because of time. But I've been requested that if there is one ingenious question or comment in less than 1 minute, which he can respond to, again in a very short time, we can pass it on. So if you know your question or comment supports the process of, those ones we will deal with them. I want the ingenious one which will support the 10x. By show of hands, those are the advantages you have by being around. Anyone with a 10x question? Yes, Dr. Mulumba? And people will vote after whether it was 10x question or not. Any other one, they have to be true? 10x question? Okay. Dr. Mulumba?
Yobra Mulumba, my name's. Thank you very much, PS Ramadan, and for such a wonderful presentation. Our concern, or my concern, with those I've interacted with, is in terms of the policies that we have. Yes, we know of the 4 P's of policy formulation, that is purpose, people, the process, and performance. So my issues on performance is that we have so many policies, but their performance is low. So all these promises we have had and the wonderful projections have assumptions related to them, which assumptions may or may not happen. So the people are asking, for the last so many years, we have had these promises, just like you have also said. And, but the achievement, much as we have had good numbers, which many people question anyway, because they don't know the methodologies of arriving at them. So the assumptions, we are assuming that we shall have the same government to achieve them, same policymakers, there will be no corruption, maybe the enforcement of these policies will take place, because currently we are seeing policies that have been abused. For instance, road using. Today I was coming, I saw someone.
Excuse me, keep within 10x. That's
okay.
That's fine.
Yeah, so the debt burden, we have not heard of such a problem, because those are things which may not allow us to achieve all those things, because people are decrying of the huge debt burden. So to what extent do we, are these promises going to be achieved? Then the last one is, to what extent are we accountants going to be consulted in this policy making? Because we feel that maybe we are not having tangible contribution to this policy formulation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we'll take on with that. Mr. Ramadan, you could kindly comment on that, then we'll finish the session.
Thank you very much. I think the CPA is talking about what I used to say, that in Uganda we have written many policies except the policy on policy implementation. And if you were following, we are actually tagging our tenfold growth strategy. The first one is on those 5 apps, was on the cleaning up, enforcing these policies, enforcing these laws and regulations and so on. Of course, as accountants, you have a key role to play. You are the auditors. You are the people who audit what you have put together as well. You are the ones who prepare the financial statements, then you audit them. Same people in this room. Now, sometimes that's where the things start to go wrong. When your audit, I don't know how you call it, is not comprehensive enough. Because I remember I used to ask my few friends I have here, why are you the auditors always show us good results on paper, but when the results on the ground are the opposite? Sometimes I see this, all of those local governments where people are implementing things in a very haphazard manner, they have unqualified audits, many of them. But you find the bridge they have built is collapsing before even it is launched. But when you go to check the audit, it is clean. So I think you have a role to play here by cleaning up first in-house before you come to clean up the ethic view of the problem. I think I will say that our main challenge, as I've said, is on ensuring that we do certain things differently going forward. Those 5 areas we have mentioned. Otherwise, the rest is the ordinary book we have always been reading from. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we give him a very big clap? On behalf of ICPAU, we would like to hand over a certificate of merit to Mr. Ramadan Gobi for this keynote address, and we do appreciate. We will also give him this beautiful bag. Yes, it's a beautiful one, and I've been told it is slightly above the value of what you are supposed to declare, but you still keep it. It's yours.
I should declare.
Thank you. Then we shall also give you an umbrella. The people who planned the Economic Forum knew it was going to rain today, and they planned for the umbrella as well. Thank you very much. Can we give him a very big clap? Thank you. Thank you very much, and over to the session director. Thank you.
A big round of applause to CPA Alfred Kabuchu. Colleagues both here and online, we are extremely sorry we are about an hour and 10 minutes over our time scheduling. One of the most difficult things is to try and rein in your boss. If somebody is your boss in the institute, it becomes difficult to say anything. Now, thank you, PSST. I request all the people on the front row, you've been told and you agreed to come and join in the photo moment. As you take the photo, PSST, you talked about good money being scarce, but I think even plenty of money is also good. Surely, if scarcity is a measure of goodness of money, I don't know why all of us are striving. And then talking about cleaning up and eating too much food, PSST, the people around you clapped when you said they should not overeat, but you wait and look at them at lunchtime. You will see that the message went in here and went in, even in the evening, the drinking. Now, I want to invite one of our partners for this event, Dr. Jingo. Dr. Jingo from Centenary Bank. I want to describe you properly, Dr. Jingo, as you come. Come, sir. The general manager, you explain what you are general managing, but you are general manager in Centenary from the bank and has been a good partner with us for this economic forum. And I hope you will do it in 2 minutes.
Thank you very much. Well, 2 minutes is a lot of time for me. I'll try to do my best. Dear PSST, the leadership team at ICPAU, and the eminent ladies and gentlemen, I salute you greetings from Centenary Bank. On a lighter note, I was also supposed to have been a CPA. I remember about in a year of 1996, I sat for 4 papers of SCCA and passed 3, failed 1. When I went back to my sponsor, the sponsor said, now that you are failing, I will not sponsor you again. Not knowing that many people were failing SCCA papers those days. I tried to explain and failed to convince. And that's how I ended up doing the fellowship in banking. But anyway, I appreciate the good work that you're doing. Allow me to do a deep dive into this presentation. I was only offered 2 minutes, but I know PSST has just been explaining something about 10x. I hope I'll not go that way. Well, let me have the next slide. And my duty today is basically to talk about well, the game plan is to walk you through who is Centenary Bank, quickly about the service channels, the performance trends, and the impact. And I will draw your attention to the theme for this morning, which is about sustainable economic growth, transforming today, thriving tomorrow. I know there are quite a number of bankers here in this meeting. I've seen a CPA Sam from Stanbic. You'll agree with me that the ultimate goal for us in the banking industry is to create that resilient and responsible banking sector that contributes to the sustainable future of this economy. And that's where I'll dwell most. Well, Centenary Bank, you know that as metamorphed into the group, we currently have those subsidiaries, Centenary Bank Uganda, headed by CPA Fabian Kasi. We have Centenary Bank Malawi, headed by CPA Godfrey Byekwaso. We have Centenary Foundation and Centetech. And our mission is to transform lives through inclusive and innovative financial solutions, especially the rural areas, but sustainably. And the vision is to be the preferred provider of innovative financial solutions, especially microfinance. We have those values which I'll not walk through in the interest of time. And looking at our distribution, we have an extensive distribution in excess of 8,000 to date, if you counted the agents. And of course the staff population or staff complement in excess of 3,300, the users of internet, then Center Mobile, 500,000. We know that we are the second biggest in the industry and the leading in microfinance and the SME sector. We lead in quite a number of sectors as highlighted there. But most importantly, we lead in agriculture and we lead in transforming this economy. We've set up in many areas where we've seen one street metamorphing into 4 streets, 5 streets. And that is the transformation which we need to talk about. That's the sustainability we need to talk about as we congregate this morning. Well, drawing your attention to the performance stats, we've grown profitability from 109B to 330 PAT, net loans from 1.2T now to over 40. That has not been a mean feat. I believe we deserve a round of applause from the CPAs. As you clap for the CPAs that run the show at the bank, because they are your own. Well, looking at deposits, we've grown from 1.6 to 4.8 T. Again, this is something that has been supported greatly by the CPAs. I know quite a number of the CPAs in the audience are giving us good business. They are supporting us. They are doing a lot, not only in giving us those audit reports before we draw down the finances, but also doing the advisory services to our customers, which is very important as we go about this business. Total assets, again, the journey and the curve has been that great. Similarly, the shareholder equity, where we've been able to grow our core capital from 1T to 70 and above. I think this is the most important slide where we shall talk about the impactful contribution towards the sustainability development and enhancing that transparency, that accountability, that ESG. I'll start with the total client base that is now about 3.3 trillion, comparing with about 3.3 million, comparing with 12 million customers in the entire banking industry. That places us at about 30%. Moving to agriculture, at least 43,000 have been able to access agricultural loans, agricultural credit, and close to 1 million youths are banked. Refugees who are part of the ESG, we have 7,500. Well, corporate customers, we are not that strong, but have that 3,500. SME, about 120,000. Borrowing customers, about 310,000. Then the women, which is very important. Women are close to 1 million customers, and I will place it about 20% are able to access credit from the bank. Not only through Grow Loans, which is a recent introduction, we have women or sent superwoman loans. The employees, like I mentioned earlier, 3,300 Ugandans. Environmental awareness or concern, we've been able to grow 70,000 trees. We are not only interested in just planting, then also funding the green economy. Over 3,100 have been able to access these facilities. And this is very important for us. We continue to foster it and support it as such. As I conclude, well, I see one of the screens here is jamming. Probably tech is not in my favor, but either way, I'll be able to conclude. I know that I'm standing between the moderator's impatience and probably something that we need to feed, even when PSST has warned us to take very little. Well, Centenary Bank is very interested in continuing to work with the CPAs, not to only fund, but also to be able to transform this economy into a sustainable one. Well, we've been able to do quite a lot around credit, especially for the key sectors, that is agriculture, manufacturing, and now moving to oil and gas. So the call to action today, as you do the deep dive into your discussions, how would you quickly work with the banks, that is the banking fraternity, to support the emerging economy that is just moving from the less developed nation to probably a developing nation or a developed nation in the future. And we should be able to foster the strategic development goals for government as we work with you. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jingo. Before you leave, the Institute has empowered me to say thank you to Centenary Bank through you. There are 3 gifts. This one is definitely, without question, who is taking it? It's the bank. You'll find a very good position in your boardroom to hang it up for being one of our lead supporters this session. Now, the other 2, you may need to form a committee because these are personal items to decide who takes them. Maybe you who has come here and spoken English to us. Unfortunately, you are not by law required to declare to Honorable Betty Namisangu come here. But thank you very much, and we look forward to continuing. This is your team. They will be part of that committee to decide who takes what. Thank you, Dr. Jim. Now, thank you, Doctor. I had dinner with you a few months ago at Popo to fundraise for a chapel, one of the religious-based universities. Colleagues, the PST has spoken. We should reduce on our eating. So I think we do away with the tea break. You are disobeying, but this event is being recorded, and you will see who said, no, we are going to eat. Okay, now, I don't know how to explain this. Just accept that I'll keep apologizing for the terrible timekeeping we have expected today. And we are going to have a 10 minutes break. Those of you who don't want to listen to advice, go to fine dining. You'll find things to eat there. Except Jackie has got an arrangement for the people on the first and second rows. So please, you people who decided to travel in a coach, go to fine dining. These people in the first class will be ushered to where because I see like a Professor Orobia, who should be in the front row, decided to sit in a coach. Please go and eat river. And let us all try to come back here at midday. People online, sincerest apologies from all of us here. But at noon exactly, we are going to resume our activities. Now you have 10 minutes, and you are still seated. That's why primary school teachers used to cane you people.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Easy Does It, the show where we show you how to do things easy. We are dealing with the easiest way to receive money from abroad. And to our first contestant, Dorothy.
Dolosi.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dolosi, your answer please.
Flexible, of course.
Nope.
Wait. The answer you have, do you get the real money they have sent to you? Not those things of they tell you, Mbumaya sent this money, then after you reach it, then they tell you money charges.
No, you mean Flexible does all that?
Hey, zero fees, just full amounts.
Receive full amounts at no charge from over 20 countries across Europe, Asia, and Africa with FlexiPay. Dial *291# or download the app to get started. For more information, call 0800-251-251 or visit our website at stanbicbank.co.ug.
Yep, that's me. Used to save my money in the mattress, in the kaboxi, bury it, give it to madame, and in my socks. Oh well, everyone is saving for something. Something we need or desire, or for someone we love. Let me introduce you to the new NSSF Smart Life Flexi Plan, a better way to save. Save for your short-term and medium-term goals. Start today with as low as 5,000 shillings. Enjoy daily competitive returns on your savings, flexible saving durations and withdrawals, no exit penalties, and exit is at free will.
Introducing Smart Life Flexi, the better way to save. Sign up via the NSSF Go app or go to a branch near you to begin your savings journey. NSSF, a better life.
It was just boom, and the money was on what? On my account on the very day, without looking for someone to ask. By the way, this is my first time to come to offices of Prudential. Never been here. I've been doing everything online. My name is Murwana Kizito. I joined Prudential in 2019. One of your people came and took me through what Prudential does, and I felt excited about what she told me about Prudential. What I had decided was to sign a direct debit with the bank, and I was just getting feedbacks every time money came off. The Prudential was sending me a message that your payment has been received. By the way, this is my first time to come to offices of Prudential. Never been here. I've been doing everything online, and I've been contacted and also contacting the people at Prudential, and they have been giving me the necessary information I needed. There are a number of people I usually interact with. Some look at insurance policies. They don't want to take it serious. Some look at it as a way of that they